Hi, Opus family. It's Kayla. I am the client account consultant here at Opus Management, and welcome to Water Cooler Wednesday. Kind of changed some stuff up. You can see my other desk and my things in the background there, but we're going to kind of ignore that since I can't put up a background. Hope you guys are doing great. We are... Man, y'all, we're coming to the end of the year. I can't believe that fall's around the corner, even though in Texas it doesn't feel like that. We're still hot as heck most days, and of course, being on the coast, I'm full of humidity. So, we've enjoyed a little bit of rain finally for the first time in as far as I can remember. We had to water. The grass had started to die here at the house, and that's super unusual. I've been very fortunate with where I live here at the coast that we've always carried a lot of green grass. We've been very fortunate with the coast and the ocean of having a lot of precipitation. The humidity helps. So it keeps our grass most of the year. And here this last, end of July, most of August, I was having to put sprinklers out and water my arena so that the dirt didn't fly away and water the grass. And that's really, unusual for us. So it worries me for winter, as I feel like we kind of get those things, right, where we get real hot in the summer and then we're gonna get really cold this winter. And y'all, your girl's not made for cold. I don't like the snow. Probably what keeps me out of home office and in the Texas office. So let's kick this off. I think over the next couple of weeks here as we wrap up September and go into October, want to talk a little bit about sales and how that translates and some of the stuff that we here at Opus do and offer. So recently we did a sales training, and yes, it's sales, but it's definitely centered around the guest experience and what happens, within the business and how your employees engage customers or engage people. And so it's really something that myself and TJ, our COO, have adopted over time, and we adapt it based on the businesses and based on what's going on in the world. And so it's just something that we offer, and I wanted to kind of bring you guys a high level of this over the next 3 weeks. I can't promise the very end of September that I will be on, as I will be traveling, and I have a very major horse show that I will be attending. So I leave for the end of the month for the Quarter Horse Congress to show, and I have to check that Wednesday and see if I show or not. So if I don't show, I'll be here. If not, we'll put a pause and roll for October. But don't forget, in October, we're going to reassess our goals and where we're at. And I can't wait to see that with you guys. So anyway, we're going to jump into this, and we're going to kind of talk about how, some of the biases, some of the constraints that we put on ourselves, right? Whether that's if you're in online sales, if you're in in-person sales, if you're trying to run a business by yourself and trying to get sales, some of the things that we do that kind of turn people off, right? Like, think about it. When you are out and about and you walk in a store and the cashier says, "Hi, how," like your first reaction, and for most people, and I hear it a lot, because it's one of the things I pay attention to, is, "Thanks, just looking." Right? Like, it's immediate. Nobody thinks twice about it. They just, you walk in and you just expect them to say, "How can I help you today? What are you looking for? Shopping for anything particular?" It's just one of those things that it seems like people jump into, right? And we have to break that habit. It's so ingrained in my generation that, we walked through the mall and the little kiosk guys were so obnoxious with it. Like, they're shoving things in your face and they wanted to be like, "Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, let me try this. Hey, go, wait, let me curl your hair." That guy's probably the most annoying. Like, stay away, don't touch my hair. But it's kind of one of those things. Like, you would walk past a little phone kiosk and be like, "I don't see you, I don't see you, I don't see you, don't talk to me, don't talk to me." And that's a hard system to break, and especially nowadays. Like, if you think about what goes on and think about your day-to-day life, how many people spend so much time, nosing their phone? And so we rely heavily on essentially nonverbal communication, to get things across, and that's kind of tough. So you've got to break the ice, right? Like, my favorite is, how much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. Tends to get a little bit of a giggle, but that's probably my go-to. So in my retail experience, that was kind of one of those things, like making a joke, just kind of, having fun with the day, having fun with people, getting them to laugh. That was always a big thing for me. And think back to think back to school, when you were just starting out in a class, we tended to have icebreakers, at least in my day. Goodness knows that, it's been a minute since I've been in school, but back in my day, we always had, when you started the new school year and you started a new class, you almost always had some kind of icebreaker. And whether that was, stand around in a circle and you have to ask a question and you can't actually answer it, you can't say a statement, and you just had to keep going and going around and around and around. That got brought back to me in tenfold at a previous job, right, where we were going through kind of sales training and we were talking about icebreakers, and I loved that game, right? Like, it's always a question. So just try and throw somebody off and asking a question. It evolves when you start using open-ended questions. And I think this can work in a lot of places in our lives, right? We tend to ask very yes or no questions, and it doesn't let you dig in any. It doesn't get you to engage with the other person. It doesn't open up the door for deeper conversations. There's just so many things that an open-ended question brings to light. And for that, whether that's in your coaching, that's in your sales, that's in, asking what you want from guests, just asking a yes or no question doesn't get you any information, because there's such a different interpretation of the way that things are said. So I challenge you, right, as you go through your day, pay attention to the questions. Pay attention to, what's being said, how it's being said. Are they yes or no questions? Are they one-word answers, like, well, how long? Or, like, what kind of questions are being asked of you? What kind of questions are you asking? Are you shutting out a conversation that could gain you, a better understanding? Are you, are you having to ask a ton of clarifying questions? And when you ask those questions, are they very pointed and specific, or are you allowing the person that you're asking those questions of to really expand upon it? And, that's where the open-ended comes from, right? Like, hey, how are you today? Good. It's not a yes or no question, but it allows for a very short answer. So, like, hey, what are your plans for this weekend versus do you have plans for this weekend? See how short my answer could be? If I have plans or I don't have plans, I can say yes or no. But what are your plans? Granted, don't go all negative Nancy on me and be like, nothing. Yeah, weekends other than working, people tend to have plans on the weekends. So that, just to give you kind of an example, like of those open-ended question icebreakers, right? So remember that about open-ended questions, because we're gonna discuss that some more, probably next week in this, where you're going to be searching for some more information. So once you start engaging someone, so same thing on social media, right? Like, we don't want every single post that comes out on our social medias to be like cramming sales down your throat. I took a break off of TikTok for a while because honestly, it was irritating the shit out of me, because all I saw was, ooh, let me sell you this. Ooh, let me sell you this. Ooh, let me sell you this. It was really irritating. Like, probably every other video on my For You page was somebody trying to sell me something. And so I wasn't discovering new people, because like literally, like, I'm just like, nope. I'm going to get carpal tunnel from swiping up. So I got off of that, started spending a little more time on Instagram, started, spending a lot more time on LinkedIn, and doing learning versus mindless scrolling. And there's a lot, and same thing, right? Like, there's a lot of sales posts like, oh, let me sell you my training course. Because the second that you search for one thing, like, it seems like that's what's all over your feed. And part of that's the algorithm, and part of that is, your phone's just trying to bring everything in front of you that it can. But when you do that, are you bringing, so on the one side, if you're the person posting it, or you're, the social media manager, or you're the business owner that's posting these things, like, if you're constantly trying to sell something, what do you think that does? Or, even though it's online and you're not saying it to the people, what do you think that does to your brand and bringing value to the people, right? Like, this is going to be a rhetorical question because we all know the answer. Like, if all you're posting is sales posts, do you think that is going to sell your product, right? Like, ooh, look, here's what I have, here's what I have, here's what I have, here's what I have. Is that what's going to sell your product or your service? No. The product or service itself is not what sells. It is the problem that it solves. So you have to solve a problem. You have to show the benefit. But in that, you have to build the trust. So if we're learning and engaging with potential customers, potential clients, potential people that, that are going to be employed by us, we have to understand what's going on. We have to engage them in an organic way. We have to have, essentially like our icebreakers, right? You really have to have that piece that gets them to start the engagement with you. So asking questions that are very open-ended, that start conversations, that start, responses on your page. That's what's going to start to build the basis of the trust for your brand, for yourself, for your company. So I'll tell you, I made a real quick post on my personal Facebook page, and it got shared way more than anything else I've ever done. And it was kind of one of those things, like, it was just a spur of the moment kind of thing. I just took a really freaking random picture of a Buc-ee's ice bag that I had in my horse trailer. And, I kind of posted like, hey, here's what I did. And the interpretation on it and the things that people were posting with it, it was crazy. Of course, I saw every time somebody shared it and when there was comments on that, but there was a couple of things I probably should have specifically said more, and I hadn't gone back and I haven't gone back and edited the post. I left it as it was. It was very just kind of a spur of the moment thing, and it didn't go into big explanation, but the conversations that spurred from it drew a lot of attention and got a lot more feed. So I started showing up in other people's on other people's feed because it had been shared, and so it had more people follow me because I wasn't selling anything. I wasn't trying to cram something down your throat because I'm an affiliate marketer for them or whatever it is, brand ambassador or something like that. I honestly had kind of this hack for horse people. I guess you could do it for cows and pigs and all that. When you're traveling in this Texas heat, we were seeing triple digit temperatures consistently for the last 2 months, and traveling in the heat of the day is a scary thing for livestock and animal owners. And I found something that worked, and I was just giving kind of my testimony on it, and it kind of exploded. I was just bringing value to people. And I think sometimes we get too wrapped up in is this post going to sell our product, and forget that we've got to bring and build the trust. We've got to show we've got to show that we are a subject matter expert, or that we understand what's going on, that we're prepared with knowledge, so that when the problem comes up, we can help with that. And so really showing what the intent of the company is, or the product is going to help move you forward, and it's going to help you build that trust with your customers, or with your audience. So just a little bit about that, a little bit to start, because the next thing that we step into is really starting to ask those questions and understand what our customers need from us, or what their big problems are. So we spend a lot of time, especially here at Opus, finding what your pain point is. So what is the pain point of our customers? What is the thing that is causing them headaches in their day-to-day? What is it that needs to be taken off of their plate so that they can, work better, they can maximize their time, because, time's the limiting factor. And, just trying to understand the needs of the people that you want to serve and help solve those problems is going to not only carry a whole lot of weight, but it's really going to help you shift the narrative, when you're having these conversations with customers, with potential clients. Understanding that allows you to formulate and have the discussion around how you're going to help them. So something to think about. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more next week, and having those discussions, and then what we do with it. So I'm going to challenge you, right? So today, I want you to go out and really work on how you have conversations with people. Even if it's just in passing, how do you open up that door to have a conversation with someone that's not just yes or no, or one word answers, or just kind of the everyday bullshit. Like, actually have a real conversation. Get past just the 30 seconds of BS talk. How's the weather, and how are you doing? I'm good. Cool. See you later. Like, have an actual conversation. And maybe it's somebody that, you see regularly at the gas station you stop at in the morning and get coffee at, or it's the Starbucks barista. If that's where you stop to get coffee, I'm of the mentality I like gas station coffee better than Starbucks. Oh, just weird. It always just tastes better from the gas station for some reason, and I don't need to hear that they're terrible. But try and get through and get away from yes or no questions. I would love to know how it changes your conversations, how it changes what you find out. Do it with your kids, right? Like, I work real hard in the afternoons when I pick my daughter up off of the bus to have a conversation about, what happened at school and what's going on. Not just, did you have a good day? Because that's really easy. Yep. Okay, well.